We're rolling. Welcome back to the True Body Intelligence Podcast. My name is Lee Maher, and I'm your host. And we're going to button this up with what I feel are the fourth and fifth most essential steps to being in a true transformative process through the perspective of the True Body Intelligence pathway and methods that we use to help people wake up and maximize their potential physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, energetically, in terms of their physical health, their mental health, their emotional health, and their spiritual health. Because we want you to succeed at feeling amazing every single day. You deserve to have and experience exactly what it is you want. You came here for a very specific, unique purpose, and let's give you everything you need in order to get there.
And we're back.
What?
It's like a radio show now. So this subject is going to be very exciting. We're going to get into human design. You've enlightened me quite a bit on this subject in the last few days. So I'm excited for you to share these ideas with a wider audience. So let's get into it.
Oh yeah, human design for me is, I always say this, these things are exciting. They're exciting for me because I love to teach, right? And I love to teach tools that I know are effective to allow people to learn who it is they really are. Most people think like, oh, I'm a tiny version of my mom and my dad, or I'm a slightly different version of my mom and my dad. And the truth is maybe genetically it looks that way, but in terms of how your system operates, every human has their own unique design that was given to them so that when they got to Earth, they could then proceed to carry out their purpose. You know, Albert Einstein, if he looked like a supermodel, the chances that he would have created the theory of relativity, they're pretty small, okay? If Marilyn Monroe was here to create the theory of relativity, she would have looked very different and operated very different than she did, okay? And so the way that you look, the way that you think, the way that you process, the way that you interpret, the way that you circulate energy through your body, all the different forms of inherent intelligence that you have that are unique to you, in the way they're unique to you, they're never unique to anyone else. And so everyone has their own blueprint. And the purpose, one of the deeper purpose of True Body Intelligence is to get you to actually live out your design. Because when you're living your design, everything's easy. When you're going against design, everything's difficult. What do I mean by that? Let's say you were born a projector, all right? Or a direct manifester, or a reflector, versus a generator or manifesting generators. The generators and the manifesting generators, they have all the energy, right? Generators, what do we call them? Generators. The projectors and manifestors and the reflectors, what do they have? They have an open sacral center. So when you look at being on this plane of existence, we're on a third dimensional plane. What does that mean? This is a plane of projection, reflection, and manifestation through generation. Okay, let me say that again. You live on a third dimensional plane of projection and reflection, manifestation through generation. Okay? So the generation is the energy, right? The projection are your intentions, all right? The things you perceive about other people. And then you have your reflections, meaning that the world around you reflects what's going on inside of you. And that's where I came up with the concept, whatever's going on inside of you is going on in your life. Whatever's in your life is in your body. Whatever's in your body is in your life. Then you have generation and manifestation, right? So how do we manifest? We manifest through generations of what? Generations of the humans that came before us and generations of the humans who will come after us. Okay? So when you start to understand that this third dimensional plane only has so many access points, right? And so being a generator is an access point. That means a highly energized being with a lot of sacral sexual energy. And they're able to use that energy to respond to the world around them. And all they need to do is respond with uh-huh or uh-uh. That's the easiest path to wake up, is if all I have to say is uh-huh or uh-uh. Imagine my brother comes and goes, hey, I'm thinking about going and ordering a pizza tonight. You want some? Uh-uh. Now he knows. Oh, he doesn't want pizza. So on my way back, you want to stop by the Chinese restaurant you like? Hunan? And I say, uh-huh. You want the usual? Okay. The Kung Pao chicken? Uh-huh. There we go. Boom. All I was doing was sitting in my rocking chair watching Penn State play Ohio State in football. And all I had to do was respond with uh-huh, 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 uh-huh. And I got exactly what I wanted to eat. Never had to tell anyone, right? Never had to describe it. So 75% of the population on Earth is made up of generators and manifesting generators. And they had the easiest path, again, to waking up, because all they have to do is do life in response. How simple is that? Somebody comes up and asks you, would you like to have this? Uh-uh. Would you like to have that? Uh-huh. Okay, great. Because your guttural response for the generator and the manifesting generator is telling them what is correct or incorrect for them. How easy is that? Now you can shut off your mind. I no longer need to go into active thinking to figure out what's the right decision. All I have to do is get someone that I'm close to ask me a couple close-ended questions. And the response, the information's already inside of me, and all I have to do is go uh-huh or uh-uh. That seems pretty simple, right? And so when you're looking at how you're designed, you need to understand what your access point is first. And I gave you an access point for a generator, right? There's an access point for a projector. There's an access point for a reflector. There's an access point for a manifester. And everyone operates differently, which means everyone has a different strategy that they employ in order to either project, manifest, reflect, or generate. Okay? If I'm a projector, right? So this is a non-energy type, right? So that means their energy's inconsistent. Where do they get their energy from? They get their energy from food. They get their energy from nature. They get their energy from other people. Like if you've ever lived with a projector and you're going to watch a movie at night and they're really tired and they sit beside you, within a few minutes they turn the movie on, you're sleeping. Why? Because they're utilizing the energy source that's in your body. And then once they're filled up, then they stop taking your energy, and all of a sudden you wake up like, oh my God, how long was I asleep? Oh, you only sleep 10 minutes. Because I was energizing them, right? Or they had another option. They could have gone out into the yard and sat by a tree and sucked all the energy up from the tree, put their feet on the ground and grounded themselves, right? And got their energy from the earth. Or they could have gone in the kitchen and made a small bowl, fruit salad, okay? And in a short amount of time, they got some energy. And so the non-energy types, they get their energy from other sources. Okay? A generator, right? Guess what? If they miss a meal, do they lose their energy?
Generators?
Generators.
Oh, I don't know. Are they the energy type?
Yeah, they're the energy type.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, I'm going to fast. How long? I'll fast for like a couple days. I'll drink a couple glasses of water. And guess what? They're still out there mowing the lawn, right? They're still cleaning the garage, just organizing things. They still have work, right? They're doing all that stuff because they have an endless supply of energy. 75% of the planet is that way. It's endless supply of energy. And then you've got what? You got reflectors, right? They have no definition in their system. So they're literally, with no definition, they need to wait at least a lunar cycle in order to make a decision, because they have no definition. They have nothing to respond to. So now they have to go through the full waxing and waning of the entire moon to figure out what's the next step. And it's a generator. All you have to do is go, uh-huh. Like, who's got the easiest pathway? Sure, the generators are the most powerful because they have the chi, they have the energy, they have the force. And they're simultaneously the most ignorant of their power. And so now you get a generator who's running around the world and initiating everything. And they think, like, look at what I'm initiating. And they realize later on, man, they're leaving a lot of money on the table. Because if they would have waited to respond, there was a bigger opportunity coming than the one they took.
So it's always the case that the response will generate a much bigger outcome for them?
Much better outcome for them.
So they have
And
to
a
wait
much
for somebody
easier.
to ask, either the universe or a person.
Yeah, no, or a person. Like, somebody could smile at you. Somebody could give you a wink. Somebody could give you a nod, like, hey. And you're like, oh, I think the person wants to talk. You go over there, next thing you're having a conversation. They're like, I've seen you here at the beach a bunch, and you're doing these exercises that seem very, very unique. Do you ever train people? And you're like, this is so weird. I was just telling my girlfriend the other day, babe, I think I should start training people at the beach and stop and fire myself from working for UPS. And bam, there you go. All you had to do was look at the signs in your field and then respond to the signs that were given to you. You see, it's always in front of us, right? It's always in our story. It's right there. How are we going to know that it's right there if we're in a lateralized state of brain function, our emotional body's turned off, our center point for receptivity is closed? How are we going to get there? Right? So the key is use true body intelligence to get you in your nature, to turn you on so that you can then respond to life in the way that you were designed, so it's easy. Like, do you want to, like, okay, well, I got my certificate. It says I can be a personal trainer in California. Now what do? I start knocking on people's doors? Or do you want to have an instant like that, right? Where the universe goes, hey, here's your first client. And then she's having such a good time with you, learning so much, growing so much. Next thing you know, she's like, well, can 2 of my other friends come? And you're like, sure. I think we should cap it out at 5. Okay? If we're going to all do it at once. But if they want to do it individually, that's fine. The next thing you know, you're running group training and you had no idea you were going to be doing that. But the second she asks you, you get a chance to respond. And now you're in your power. Because when they come to you, you have the leverage. When you go to them, you got none. Again, for the generators, when they come to you, you have the leverage. When you go to them, you got 0.
What about manifesting generators?
Manifesting generators are the same way, except they can initiate, because when you look at a human design chart, there's 9 centers. 4 of them are energy centers. 1 is for your immunity. The other 2 are for thinking. 1 is for your throat, and the other 1 is for your self-knowing, right? So manifesting generators, true manifesting generators, what it means is that their sacral center, okay, has a channel of energy that goes directly to their throat. And so now they can initiate a little bit faster, right? More subtle responses, they can take action, right? And then you have manifestors, which would be the next thing. They're initiators. They're like, I think I'm going to call this university. I had this program. I think this would be useful for them. And they call the dean, and for some reason, they don't even know the dean. The dean picks up the phone, and next thing you know, they're helping the university because they are designed to initiate. And so then people only give them resistance to initiating what they want when they refuse to inform.
When they refuse to inform?
When they refuse to inform. Because in order to get resistance out of the way for the manifester, they have to inform everyone around them what they're doing. Now, of course, it's unnatural. You're